to ask you, on Friday you'd confirmed this Michel Kafando story, but I wanted to ask you, since then...
Well, I didn't confirm it, I announced it.
Well, okay. You've been asked about it for a couple of weeks, and I wanted you to respond directly to this. The ambassador of Burundi, Albert Shinjiro, has pointed out online, he said, Kafando has not been appointed SG Special Envoy on Burundi, but Special Envoy in general, that the SG can dispatch to Burundi or elsewhere, meaning, is that the case?
Well,
What's
I think
his
his
job?
title is Special Envoy, and as we said specifically in the announcement, he will be following up on Burundi. So I think the announcement that we put out, to my sense, speaks for itself.
So does this contradict this? Because this
I'm not in the business of contradicting. I'm not in the business of
Sure.
contradicting ambassadors or not. What I'm saying is, if you look at what we read out on Friday, it was clear that Mr. Kafando will focus on Burundi and take over the file that had been handled by Mr. Ben Omar.
Has any other country or file been discussed between the Secretary and Mr. Kafando for his special envoyship?
At this point, he will focus on Burundi, but again, the announcement I think speaks for itself.
Sure. Thanks. So I had noticed that it went up, and I guess one, since it was done exactly the same way last year, can you I don't know if you'll answer this. What took 10 days this year? Was it somehow reconsidered? And more. I just want you to, since you've just said that, when for example the Turkish Cypriot representatives come, they organize their, and I think the more stakeouts the better.
Yeah.
They organize their own stakeouts,
Right.
generally on the first floor. UNTV does it. There's no state sponsor or anything else. So there's obviously some legal distinction in the UN's mind between the Frente Polisario and the Turkish Cypriot community, which is fine.
I
It just seems
don't want
you
to
should
go
explain what
into
it
a
is.
compare and contrast. I think we are, to be somewhat self-critical, I think one of our passions here at the UN is to reinvent, in terms of Secretariat, is to reinvent the wheel. I think what happened in terms of the videos being merged, I think will probably be the process moving forward. The Turkish Cypriot, not to compare the two, not in the comparing and contrasting business, asked for a stakeout, and a stakeout was on the first floor, and the stakeout was accommodated.
So you anticipate no 10-day delays in the future?
I'm barely trying to. I'm sure we'll try to reinvent the wheel in a year as well.
NGOs, I know that you'd said you'd been asked previously about the election of Saudi Arabia to CEDAW, and you'd said it's totally up to member states. So now there's this controversy around UNESCO holding its NGO forum in Riyadh, and a number of groups have said, given that there are people in jail in Saudi Arabia for setting up NGOs, this seemed to be a misstep by the UN system. Do you
Well, I think
agree?
that's. I don't know the details of the who, what, when, where. If it's an issue for UNESCO, I think you should ask for it themselves. As you know, UNESCO is an independent, specialized agency. You should ask them about it. I don't know. I don't have enough details to comment.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you this question on Yemen ports. There's an emerging story, but a lot of it's based on documents. A journalist there, Shoaib Al-Mahosa, has come up with documents showing essentially that the UN system was bringing in medicine that was out of date into Yemen. I mean, in cases, there are photographs of 9 out of 12 containers being expired when they arrived. So I wanted to know, is either now or as soon as you have some kind of a response for it, is it acceptable? Is the UN aware that it was bringing in out of date medicine into Yemen? And if so, how could this happen with that percentage of expiration?
I don't know about the ports, but I know there were some issues about expired items having found, and I know they were removed by the UN before departing for Thais. So we never would willingly and knowingly send out expired medicine. Obviously, things are checked. Sometimes these convoys have to wait quite a long time, so things are checked, and whatever was expired was removed.
My understanding is that actually the UN person that communicated.
Sorry,
Sure.
just wait for the background music to end.
Is that
Go
the
ahead.
UN person that communicated with the port officials seemed to acknowledge that there might be that they were trying to get a permit to get them in. It wasn't just that it was discovered. It was a UN
I can find
shipment.
out.
Can you find out? I
can
wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carol?
Yeah. Given the way your announcement about the human security position is, Mr. Takasu remains the Undersecretary General for Management as well as this other job?
No,
or-
he will leave his post as Undersecretary of Management on the 15th of May. He will then continue on the post of on human security, which is on $1 a year.
And do you have an officer in charge for Department of Management, or do you anticipate making an announcement?
I never anticipate anything. I assume there will either be an announcement or an officer in charge.
And the other thing is that the Secretary General met with the Foreign Minister of the Dominican Republic on Friday, and since then they've formally put out a readout, and they've said that said that the UN system should do more concretely for Haiti, not just talk but give money. And so I guess I'm wondering, can you give some UN side readout, or what?
I don't have a readout, but I'll see what I can get you. Thank you.
Okay.